the two most tactical chess players of all time, Mikhail Tal and Rashid Nesmedinov. Yesterday we looked at a Nesmedinov victory. Today we're going to look at a Tal victory. And according to the chess.com database, this is Mikhail Tal's only victory over Rashid Nesmedinov. There's 4 games in the database. 3 go to Nesmedinov. This one goes to Tal. And it's an interesting game because it should have gone to Nesmedinov until he made a one-move blunder that I cannot believe he made. So stick around and let me know, how did he make this blunder? Because it's fascinating. So we get a Sicilian as we did yesterday. But yesterday we got a... Which Sicilian did we get yesterday? We got this one, the KG1. The Schwenigan, that's the one. Today we're going to get a Taimanov. So no pawn on d6 right away. We get a queen on c7 and the knight comes out. It's called the Bastrikov variation, apparently. In the Taimanov, we get bishop to e3, knight to f6. Again, who cares about the opening? Let's see when sparks fly. All right, bishop to d6. So this move sets up a battery. It prepares to get castled, and it allows the bishop to at least be active. Why is it dubious? Can you figure out why it's a dubious move? Reason being is due to the move knight d to b5. Opening up an attacker onto d6, 2 attackers, 1 defender. And you see it's actually a fork. So it blunders a knight, yes, but you win a pawn back. And just look at how fascinating Black's hold in this position is. I'm going to call it a hold because this is not great, right? So queen a5 check. White's only move bishop to d2. And Black gets away with bishop to b4. Isn't that amazing? Right? Because if pawn takes bishop, there's 2 people that could take this rook over here. It just gets more fascinating, though. Bishop takes, knight takes, there's a discovery, and for the same reason this cannot be taken. Queen to d2 cannot be played because of the move knight takes c2, exploiting the fact that the queen would then be pinned to the king, and Black would pick up a rook. So in order to neutralize the move, knight takes b4, White would have to castle, at which point Black should go back to c6, pawn to b4 kicks out the queen, where it has to go to b6, and White has the move queen to d6. So what is going on? Well, Black is up in exchange if we do some quick math, but also Black cannot castle and White is threatening a fork. So though it's slightly balanced, I would say White is pretty crushing here. And I would assume that's why this line is not played so much anymore. And this would be the refutation to that line. Crazy stuff. And knowing Nesmedinov, I mean, he would find it. This guy just found everything, except for the last move in this game. Bishop to e5, pawn to f4. All right. Very similar to yesterday's game, but we don't have g4. He's like, no more g4 in this position, and these Sicilians, I'm not having it. Tal's like, I'm going to trade because even though I'm a tactician, you're also a tactician, arguably a better tactician. So let me trade off all the pieces and make it a calmer game. Black scoops a pawn. Tal scoops a pawn. But Nesmedinov didn't want that pawn. He's like, now I have the open f-file. So his best move in this position is rook to f1, gaining the semi-open f-file, giving up yet another pawn, and then just pressing forward. Just pressing forward with his attack. He does it a little bit slower. He goes pawn to g3, the queen gets kicked to c7, and then he goes pawn e5. He's like, I'll get the rook into the game later. Maybe I don't want to go down 2 pawns against you, Tal. We get knight to d5, takes, and castles. The way Nesmedinov plays chess is really beautiful. How he does this to Tal, he's doing to Tal what Tal does to others. That's what's amazing. I mean, in every single game, Mikhail Tal's king gets stuck in the center of the board, and then Nesmedinov just checkmates him. This is the only game where that didn't happen. I mean, that's incredible. Pawn to b5, rook to f1. All right, still better, but what should he have done? You had to play the move pawn to e6. The point of pawn to e6 is to uncripple Black's structure he would take with the d pawn, but then White would then take the g pawn, attacking the rook, and this is not such a comfortable position. Again, Black is just lagging behind in development. Perhaps he thought the move order didn't matter and went rook f1, and then he played e6, and as you can see, White is still crushing. We get takes with the d pawn to fix his structure, right? It makes a lot of sense. Queen takes g7 and rook f8. So essentially the same position. Find the winning move here for white. Find what Nesmedinov missed. The winning move is not so hard to find, but to find the whole line, you got to go a little deep in your calculation. So the move is bishop to g4. Raise your hand if you got that. Very good job. By process of elimination, what would black play? You would have to assume he would castle here. And how do you win? You might be like, oh, it almost works, but it doesn't. But it does. Can you believe bishop takes e6 actually does work? Why? Why does this work? Pawn takes e6, queen takes f8. Did you spot it? The point is after rook takes, king d7, rook f7, you are just in a winning endgame. What's better, a bishop or a rook? Look at the bar. Look at the points. So that would have been an incredible victory. But we get bishop to h5. Also logical. There's a lot of pressure on f7. He's trying to prevent black from castling, but black can castle. Now you could see the ball is turning into black's favor. King to b8, rook takes f7. All right, he picks up a pawn, but this is not Nez's type of game. We are reaching a semi-balanced endgame where Tal is going to be able to grind him down. The reason he went king d2 is because the king is the best piece in the endgame. So he's trying to get it to the center faster than his opponent, that is Tal. We get queen check, king d1, queen back, and queen f6, maintaining pieces on the board. Queen to d4. All right, he's blockading past pawns. That's exactly what you should do, right? He wasn't just a tactician. Apparently, he was okay at positional chess. He's putting the clamps on black's position, right? This bishop is not as good as this bishop. That is why white is slightly better in this position. Count your blessings. We get bishop to d7, bishop back to e2. We get a retreating bishop move by Nesmedinov. Bishop to e8, bishop to d3. Again, still, white's bishop is better than that of his opponents. King to b7, rook to g5, and rook to f7. He's like, no checks. I'm not letting you pick up a pawn. Are you crazy? A 2-on-0? I'm not giving you a 2-on-0. Be happy with your 2-on-1. Queen to e5. The best move was to keep applying pressure with queen to h8. The only thing I could think of is that he was in severe time pressure and was going for these trades. Okay, but it's still a draw. It's still a calm game. They're both getting their king into the board, into the game, like good chess players do. We get bishop to g6. Okay, pure rook endgame. White cannot possibly lose this position. He's playing all the best moves. He trades off onto a 1-on-0 on the king side, so that's very good. And what do you play here? There's many moves. Actually, there's only two, b3 or c3, but he goes b3. Good move. We get king to f5. What would you play in this position? There are two drawing moves. One, king to f3. Maintaining opposition. You're not so worried about these guys because your pawn neutralizes them. Two, you could go pawn to c3 and set up a brick wall. Nesmedinov went c4. Did he mouse slip? In 1961, was this game played on chess.com? I mean, c4 is a 300 elo blunder, so I'm just not understanding how this happened. It's got to be the luckiest win of Mikhail Tal's position, right? Because just take, there's nothing to do here. B takes c4. It's one of those positions where you're just having a quick math win. So, I don't know. Does anybody know the history of this game? Please look it up and let me know. Thank you as always for watching. Have a great day, guys. Peace.